Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader Guide. Cassia Guide, your ship navigator, the one that takes you through the warp. This guide will count for prologue and act 1. It's a full build for Cassia Oresllio for the unfair difficulty. And if it works, played and tested on unfair, it will work on all other difficulties as well. Let's go.
Are you ready for Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader? Because I am. The Emperor protects.
So, you get Cassia very early in the game, and the first thing that you're gonna get as an officer Cassia would be Voice of Command. After that, it's Bring It Down. Those two spells are in cohesion, and you should always cast Voice of Command before putting Bring It Down on an ally to play again. Extremely good combo. On the next level, or rather to say on level 2, we're gonna learn Persuasion. On level 3, we're gonna get Back in a Fight as an ability. On level 4, Cassia receives Finest Hour ulti, one of the best ultis in the game. You basically give an entire turn to ally. For the very first talent, we're gonna learn Inspire Courage. Inspire Courage will raise allies' maximum wounds, or better to say, maximum health. On the next level, we're gonna learn Willpower as a characteristic. And we're gonna pick Eye of the Oblivion as a Navigator talent. Navigator talent is one of the best talents in a game. You remove dodge from enemies, or better to say, you debuff enemies by just looking at them. For the next talent, we're gonna upgrade the Get Back in a Fight, and it's gonna become Wounds Are No Excuse, a buffed up version of Get Back in a Fight. And for the characteristic, we're gonna max out Willpower. We're always gonna go for Willpower whenever we can. For Cassia, we need huge Willpower. For the next ability, we're gonna learn Glimpse of Fate. Glimpse of Fate is an extremely good buff on yourself, on allies, no matter what. It gives plenty of good benefits. And it scales with Willpower that we're gonna have as the main stat. Everyone that's under the effect of Glimpse of Fate will receive additional dodge, additional hit chance, and better chance to resist different effects on the next status effect spell that they're gonna get targeted with. So basically it's one ability for a triple buff. For the Navigator talent, we're gonna learn Veil of Protection. Now why do we do it? Because she casts a lot of spells to buff and so on, and when you cast, for example, Glimpse of Fate on someone, that ally is also gonna receive additional armor on top of dodge and hit chance and whatnot. For the next level, we're gonna learn a talent called Contagious Luck. Contagious Luck will give ally a chance, those that you buffed with your skills, to reroll a failed check, or to reroll in combat if they miss, or if they get hit, they reroll dodge again, so they try to dodge it. Okay, basically it's a double play, but with dices. After Contagious Luck, we're gonna go with Lore Imperium. On the next level, we'll receive the first ulti upgrade, Finest Hour, and we're gonna pick upgrade number 2 as the first upgrade for the ulti. This is very good, because once you put this ulti, for example on your tank on Abelard, and you send him in the middle of enemies among 20 enemies, Abelard won't die. He's gonna survive for entire round, no matter how many times he get whacked on 1 HP. Very good to soak up damage. On the next level, we're gonna take Lore Warp. Warp is the most important thing on Cassia, because she is a navigator, she flies with your ship through warp, she's gonna have a lot of warp skill checks during Koronus Expanse map, during combat, during skill checks, when you explore maps and so on, so you're gonna use Lore Warp non-stop. Lore Warp needs to be the highest skill on Cassia, and it's also lore friendly, because she's supposed to know about the warp the most. She's a navigator. For the characteristic, we're gonna take Fellowship, because she's an officer as well as a navigator, so she profits out of Fellowship, Willpower, Intelligence the most. For the next level, we're gonna learn Commanding Voice. Commanding Voice will increase all officer abilities by specific amount of tiles, 3 plus 6. Very good, you can reach further with your abilities, with your buffs. For the characteristic, we're gonna learn Fellowship. And the next ability that we're gonna take on Cassia will be Reveal the Light. Reveal the Light is yet another buff, but this time the buff raises willpower and toughness. Best is self-cast on Cassia and raise her willpower even further, so her spells will start hurting more and more once you enter Act 2. This is preparation for a full Navigator Cassia from level 1 to level 16, so she becomes way much stronger after that. Reveal the Light is absolutely essential. After Reveal the Light, we're gonna learn additional talent from talents 2, and that's gonna be Swift Movements. We want huge movement points on the Navigator, cause she's gonna move during combat non-stop everywhere to buff allies, dodge enemies, cast some damage dealing abilities on enemies and so on. Basically, you want movement points. So Swift Movements it is. On the next level, we're gonna learn Perilous Ways. Cassia has a very good damage dealing movement abilities because she's a navigator where she gets to move one enemy or multiple enemies in the area of effect. With this talent, Perilous Ways, enemies will receive damage when they're moving, or better to say, when you move enemies with Cassia, they're gonna get hurt. It's extremely good, and this is the main thing how you should play Cassia. Correct talents that deal damage when you move enemies. And now Cassia becomes stronger and stronger as time goes on from this moment. For the skills on this level, we're gonna take Lore Imperium. On the next level, we're gonna get Toughness for Cassia and raise her maximum wounds, or better to say HP a bit. And we stick on raising maximum wounds with It Will Not Die, so Cassia cannot get one-shotted anymore. And for the final level, we're gonna take Finest Hour Upgrade 1. The first upgrade gives full invulnerability for an entire round where ally cannot die, and this upgrade will give additional damage to an ally that scales from Fellowship bonus. Cassia is a Navigator officer, so her Fellowship is already quite high, and you benefit the most out of this upgrade. So for the ulti upgrade again, we go with upgrade 1, and the first one would be upgrade 2. And that's about it. Now, what are the best items to equip on Cassia? Any item that's gonna give her movement, willpower, intelligence, perception, or fellowship is completely valid on Cassia. Or any item that gives lore warp is completely valid on Cassia. Those are the items, trinkets, capes, hands, and so on that you wanna use on Cassia. For armor, we always go with light armor with huge dodge. You must pay attention on Cassia to have extremely good dodge when you play. She needs to dodge, not to soak up damage. Alright? As far as weapons go, you gotta have two staffs, two navigator staffs. One staff should be the buffing staff and the other staff should be the attacking staff. Okay, so how it goes, you equip, for example, this staff when you wanna buff up allies with all of those buff abilities I gave you, and once you want to move enemies, you equip a damage dealing staff that's gonna hurt enemies even more when you move them, and it's gonna scale with your talents, so you need to switch those staffs when you play. So what are the abilities that we are going to prepare on Cassia? We want Cassia to become a Grand Strategist post level 16, but from level 1 to level 16, these are the abilities that we're gonna use the most. Now, how do you use abilities when you want officer abilities with Cassia? Voice of command on an ally, and then play again with Bring It Down. Once ulti is there, you pop ulti and give them an extra turn. So you can basically tell an ally to play 2 times, including his own round. That will be 3 times in 1 round as Cassia. Once and if your ally is immobilized, stunned, burning, bleeding, and so on, you just pop Voice of Command and you say get back in a fight, and they clear all of those negative status effects. That's a defensive part of Cassia. And now comes the navigator part of Cassia. The spells that you're gonna have would be Lidless Stare, Notch of Purpose, Glimpse of Fate, and Reveal the Light. This is what you're gonna get from level 1 to level 16. These are for later on, post level 16. So these are the only spells that you're gonna have as far as this build goes. How you should usually open up. You're gonna buff up Cassia with Reveal the Light and then you're gonna use Notch of Purpose to move enemy and hurt them. Pay attention that you have a staff that deals damage on movement as well. That's for the talents, ear, and spells combo. The ally that's gonna get targeted, you can give them Glimpse of Fate so they can dodge. Or ally that's gonna hurt, like Argenta, you can give them Glimpse of Fate so they hurt even more. I would not recommend going with Lidless Stare unless it's a must. It's far better to move an enemy and buff allies in the first round than to do Lidless Stare. When can you use Lidless Stare? Because it's an AoE damage dealing spell. When you open up fights in a surprise round, you get close enough to enemies, you whack them with Lidless Stare, collect as many as you can, and then go back. Okay, to start buffing allies, move enemies, tell them to play again, and so on. Cassia is probably the best companion as far as utility goes, and the best buffer in the game. Not only the buffer, also the damage dealer, because later on she's gonna hurt like crazy on top of all of those buffs and play against spells. Anyways, that would be it for Cassia. Again, if it works on unfair, it will work on all other difficulties as well. Cassia is a must in a team, especially if you don't play as an officer, because Cassia is the only valid officer in the game. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching.
Are you ready for Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader? Because I am. The Emperor protects.